Welcome back to the Deep Dive. Today we are wading into some truly turbulent waters.
Yeah, this one is. It's going to be intense.
It is. If you've been walking around lately feeling that the world hasn't just changed, but has actually flipped upside down like a magician's trick where the floor is now the ceiling, you're going to want to stick around for this one.
It's that feeling, right? That sensation of gaslighting on a civilizational scale.
Exactly. We're talking about that nagging suspicion that the rules of the game have been rewritten while you were sleeping. And that, logic itself is being labeled as a weapon.
It's a sentiment we see in the data constantly. People feel like they're losing their grip on reality, not because they're crazy, but because the definitions of everything are shifting under their feet.
Right. And if you've ever felt like up is down, or that just noticing reality makes you the bad guy, this deep dive is specifically for you. But before we get into the heavy stuff, and it is going to get heavy, I have a quick request.
A very important one.
If you want to keep getting these kinds of unvarnished insights, these survival guides for the modern world, do us a huge favor and hit that like and subscribe button right now.
It really does help us keep the lights on and signals to the algorithm that these conversations matter.
Okay, so today we are doing a full review of a new ebook that is essentially a field manual for this exact feeling. It's titled, and take a deep breath for this one,
It's a long one.
Leftist Word Games, Satanic Conversions, Hegelian Dialectic Cultural Revolution, Political Games, Victimology, Massandry, and Useful Idiots Subverting Western Civilization by Conrad Riker.
Wow. That title is comprehensive.
It's a mouthful, but it sets the stage perfectly. Riker isn't interested in being subtle here.
No, he's not. He's framing this as a survival guide, specifically for men, but really for anyone trying to navigate Western culture right now without losing their mind.
And the central premise is that language has been completely weaponized. He argues what looks like political disagreement is actually a calculated play to dismantle Western civilization, to pathologize masculinity, and enforce what he calls a satanic inversion of reality.
And we're going to break down what he means by satanic inversion. It's not what you probably think.
Definitely not. So if this sounds like something you need in your arsenal, you should just pick up the ebook. It's available right now on Amazon Kindle and Google Play Books. Pause this if you have to. Go grab a copy and come back.
Because once you see the mechanism, you really can't unsee it.
So where do we start? Riker lays the foundation with the term we all know, the red pill.
Right. The red pill, which comes from the Matrix, of course. Taking the red pill means waking up to the harsh reality.
And originally, in the manosphere and these online communities, it meant questioning authority, looking at objective data, accepting hard truths, even if they were unpleasant.
It was about independent thought, rejecting comfortable lies.
But Riker argues this term has been hijacked.
Completely co-opted. He points out that universities, corporate HR departments, they've effectively stolen the concept. Now, in a university setting, taking the red pill, or getting woke, means becoming aware of systemic oppression.
So the definition of waking up has been inverted.
Precisely. Instead of waking up to objective reality, you're waking up to the approved ideological narrative.
And he gives a pretty stark example of this.
Oh, yeah. From Columbia University. He cites a professor who literally taught a freshman class that logic and reason are tools of white supremacy.
Hold on. Logic and reason. The foundational tools of how we think.
The very same. The syllabus listed things like syllogisms, basic if A, then B, logic as oppressive Western constructs.
That is just, it's wild. So what happens to the person who tries to use logic in that classroom?
They become a threat. Riker explains that in this new hijacked red pill, if you quote the Constitution or cite biological data, you aren't a critical thinker. You're perpetuating violence. You're attacking their safety.
He mentions David Buss in this context, right?
Yeah.
The evolutionary psychologist.
He does. David Buss, a legend. His research on human mating is foundational. But Riker notes that today, citing Buss's work gets you flagged by so-called bias response teams.
So stating biological facts about human nature is now offensive speech.
Because it contradicts the ideology. So yeah, the red pill now means submit. It used to be rebellion, now it's conformity.
This leads us right into the core of the book, this idea of satanic inversion. Now, I want to be clear, when he says satanic, he's not talking about guys in red robes with pitchforks.
No, not at all. And it's a crucial distinction. He's using it to describe a structural flipping of moral polarity. Satanic as in the adversary, the inverter of truth.
So a mechanism where good becomes evil, truth becomes hate.
And order becomes chaos. It's not just lying, it's redefining words so they mean their exact opposite.
Like Orwell's Newspeak, but on steroids. The book gives some really concrete examples. Let's run through a few.
Okay, the biggest one is inclusion. Historically, inclusion meant bringing people in, right? But Riker argues that now inclusion means the systemic exclusion of anyone who dissents from the groupthink.
The paradox of tolerance. To be inclusive, you have to exclude the intolerant.
And the intolerant is anyone who disagrees with you.
Okay, what about safety? We hear that everywhere. I don't feel safe.
Safety has been totally inverted. It no longer means physical safety from harm. It now means safety from ideas that make me uncomfortable. It means censorship.
So if I disagree with your politics, I am literally threatening your safety.
Exactly. Which then justifies shutting you down. It gives the victim a license to be aggressive while claiming self-defense.
The one that really stuck out to me was his breakdown of the word toxic, specifically toxic masculinity. He calls it a floating signifier.
Yeah, which is a term from linguistics. It means a word that doesn't have a fixed meaning, so it can be attached to anything the speaker wants to demonize.
And he says it's used to pathologize traditional male strengths.
Exactly. Leadership, stoicism, being competitive, setting boundaries, suddenly those are all toxic.
Well, actual toxic behavior.
They get a pass if they come from a protected group.
Yeah.
Narcissism, emotional manipulation, those are ignored. But if a man is stoic at work, he's emotionally stunted and toxic. It's a shame tactic.
There was that story in the book that just illustrates this perfectly. The Portland high school biology teacher.
Oh, that one is chilling. A biology teacher suspended. His crime. He used the terms male and female in a biology class.
Words that are in every textbook.
Every textbook for 100 years. The school board ruled that using biological sex terms was transphobic violence.
So stating a biological fact is now violence. That's the inversion right there.
Truth is violence. Fiction is safety. That's the formula.
Riker then dives into the psychology behind why this is happening. He connects it to the terrible mother archetype and even borderline personality disorder.
This is maybe the most provocative chapter. He suggests leftist ideology mirrors the terrible mother. The good mother nurtures you to become independent. The terrible mother devours you to keep you dependent.
And in this model, she splits the world into two camps.
Infants and predators. The infants are the marginalized groups who need endless protection and validation. They can do no wrong.
And let me guess who the predators are.
Men. Specifically, white heterosexual men. The ideology demands that the predators be controlled and silenced to protect the infants.
He parallels this with BPD, the emotional volatility, the splitting, where you're either all good or all evil.
No middle ground. You're an ally or a monster. He even brings up the Tinder statistics to back this up.
Which were sobering.
They're brutal. He cites data showing that on dating apps, women swipe left reject about 85% of men. Rejection on an industrial scale. Yet the cultural narrative isn't women are being hyper-selective, it's
Men are broken incels.
Yeah.
The double standard again.
right, and it connects to this rejection of objective reality for lived experience. He references a New York Times op-ed that was actually titled, "Why I No Longer Believe in Evidence."
I remember that piece. It was stunning.
The argument was that data can be harmful, so we should prioritize feelings over facts. If the data contradicts the feeling, the data is racist.
There was that story about the Boeing engineer. I think every man in corporate America needs to hear this.
This one hits home because it's not some campus theory, it's an industry where math actually matters. A Boeing engineer was fired, not for a safety violation. He was fired because he refused to attend a mandatory men's healing circle.
A healing circle at Boeing.
Yes. And the session opened with the premise, all men are complicit in patriarchy. The engineer just said, no, I don't accept that. I'm here to build planes.
And that was enough to get him fired.
He was labeled resistant to growth and terminated. That is the terrible mother archetype smothering the independent thinker who refuses to admit he's a predator.
It's terrifying. It shows competence doesn't protect you anymore. Which brings us to how this all spreads. Riker calls it institutional capture and talks about the useful idiot.
This part is crucial. The useful idiots, a term from Lenin, aren't the evil architects. They're the well-meaning enforcers. They read the right papers, donate to the right causes, they trust the institutions.
They think they're just being good people.
Exactly. But they're drafted into the revolution without knowing it. Look at that Microsoft memo Riker found. It called non-compliant employees resistance vectors that needed to be neutralized.
Neutralized. That's military language.
It's counterinsurgency language coming from human resources. That tells you everything. HR is no longer about resources. It's about ideological enforcement.
And speaking of the military, the book has a whole section on what it calls the feminization of the armed forces.
Right. Historically, the military's job was to be lethal, to win wars. But he shows how that purpose is being subverted. He points to DoD memos about replacing soldier with peace builder
Peace builder.
in the army. It's insane. He points out the danger of replacing command and control, which is essential for survival in combat, with collaborative empathy. We're spending millions on gender ideology training instead of equipment.
Riker frames all of this within the Hegelian dialectic. It sounds academic, but it really does explain the news cycle.
Yeah, it's a simple formula, really. Problem, reaction, solution. Riker argues that crises are often manufactured to create a specific problem.
Okay, so walk us through the example he uses. Systemic police racism.
Right. He cites DOJ stats showing 97% of police interactions are peaceful. The data suggests bad incidents are outliers, but the media narrative creates the problem. The police are hunting people.
That's the problem, which creates the arc.
Inaction. Fear, outrage, riots. The public begs for the chaos to stop. They scream, do something.
And then comes the pre-planned solution.
Which the architects had ready all along. Total cultural control, defunding the police, DEI officers in every precinct. The solution was the goal. The crisis was just the vehicle.
And in this system, victimhood becomes the ultimate currency.
It's the new gold standard. If you're a victim, you have moral authority. You can't be questioned. If you're competent and strong, you're suspect, a potential oppressor.
The double standards are just. I mean, look at that Ontario Human Rights Tribunal case he brought up.
That is the ultimate inversion. A man was literally fined by the government for saying men have penises, a biological fact. He was punished for it. Meanwhile, Drag Queen Story Hour is celebrated as inclusive. The man stating a fact is punished. The performance blurring reality is state sanctioned. The system is working as designed.
It's designed to make you feel crazy.
Yeah.
But Riker doesn't just leave us there. He offers a way out. He calls it praxa.
Praxa. Practical action. You can't just analyze the darkness. You have to build your own light. And it starts with going back to school, but the old school. The trivium.
Grammar, logic, and rhetoric.
And he calls them survival kits for the mind. Grammar is about defining terms. Logic lets you spot the fallacies. Rhetoric is how you speak the truth effectively so you don't get steamrolled.
He also talks about building parallel institutions. Basically, opting out.
This is the John Galt moment. Stop apologizing. Stop playing their game. Build your own private networks. He tells this powerful story about a group called the Iron Council.
Tell us about that.
Just a group of men who started meeting. No therapist, no HR, just men fasting, lifting weights, and holding each other accountable. Brutal honesty.
And what happened?
Marriages were saved. Divorce rates in the group dropped. They returned to a grounded, traditional form of masculinity instead of the pathologized version being forced on them. They just focused on being strong, capable men.
That's powerful. It's about rejecting the guilt.
That's his final piece of advice. Reject the guilt. Understand that empathy is being used as a weapon to silence you. When someone accuses you of an ism,
Don't apologize.
don't accept the frame, demand definitions, ask them, define racism, define toxic, force them to explain their terms. The spell breaks when you demand precision.
This is a war on reality.
Yeah.
And the weapon is language. Once you see the code, once you see the matrix, you don't have to be played by it.
The red pill was never theirs to give you. It's yours to take. But you have to actually take it.
We have covered a lot, but honestly, we've only scratched the surface of this book. We didn't even get to the chapters on the Great Replacement or the Church of Woke.
The analysis of the useful idiot phenomenon alone is worth the price of the book. How to spot them, how to neutralize their influence in your own life.
Seriously, you need to read the full text. Go to Amazon Kindle or Google Playbooks right now and buy Leftist Word Games. It is essential reading.
And if you want to follow the author directly, he's on Substack. You can find him at Conrad Schreiker. His stuff is incredible.
Don't let this be just another deep dive you listen to and forget. Take action. Buy the book, understand the game, and stop being played. And before you go, please make sure you like and subscribe to our show.
It helps us get this information out to more men who really need to hear it. Stay sharp.
The red pill was never theirs. It's yours. Take it. Thanks for listening.